tutorial is going to cover Big O and sample problems. Before we begin, make sure that you have Java and the Java JDK downloaded on your computer. You can run java-version in your terminal to check. Also make sure that you have IntelliJ downloaded on your computer. It suggests that you watch the previous Java tutorials in this same playlist. Big O. What is Big O? The Big O of an algorithm is a way of denoting the efficiency of an algorithm. It tells you how long it takes an algorithm to complete as a function of its inputs. Big O notation. Big O notation is done based on the size of the input and does not include any coefficients to the size of the input, only exponents and functions like log. So for example, where n is the size of the input, we have O of n, which runs over everything a multiple of n times. An example would be a single loop for over an array. O of n squared runs over everything a multiple of n squared times. An example would be printing out a square figure based on the length of one of its square sides. Sample problems. What is the Big O of the following code? So the Big O, we have this array here, and we run over the array exactly one time, and every time we do, we print out an asterisk. And so for this one, it's Big O of n. The Big O of this code here, it runs over the array one time for the outer loop and one time for the inner loop. So every time the outer loop runs, the inner loop runs to completion. So the Big O of this inner loop is n, and the Big O of the outer loop is n. So the Big O of the whole thing is n squared, because that's how many asterisks will be printed, is n squared. Note: the following sample problems are going to be from codingbat.com. I would encourage you to go there, make an account, and keep practicing your coding. CodingBat problems. So let me split the screen here. So we're going to start with warm-up 2, and we're going to look at string bits. Okay, so given a string, return a new string made of every other char starting with the first, so that hello yields HLO. So we're given a string, so I'm going to do for int I equals 0, I less than string.length plus I. And CodingBat, unlike IntelliJ, does not do compile as we go. So I have to keep an eye out for what we're doing to make sure that it's correct. So if I mod 2 is 0, then we want to add to answer. So answer plus equals string dot char at I. And then we want to return answer at the end. So let's go. So they're all correct. There we go. Great. So now I want to go back to warm-ups and do array count 9. Given an array of ints, return the number of 9s in the array. So I'm going to say int num 9s equals 0 for int I equals 0, I less than nums dot length, and it's dot length not a method because it's an array, plus I. If nums at I equals 9 plus num 9s, return num 9s. Great, they're all correct there. Okay, back here, string x. Given a string, return a version where all the x's have been removed, except an x at the very end or at the very start or the very end should not be removed. So let's say string answer equals string dot substring 0, 1. Because we want it to be the first character whether or not it's an x. And for int I equals 0, I less than string dot length, where dot length is a method. So now we want to say if string dot char at 0 is not char at I is not equal to x, and string dot char at I not equal to a capital X, then answer plus equals I want to do less than string dot length minus 1. And now at the end we want to say if answer dot length is greater than 1, not answer, string dot length is greater than 1, answer plus equals dot char at the last string. And we check to see if it's greater than 1 because we want to make sure that we don't end up with 2 of the first letter if it's only 1 long. And we want to return answer. Okay, let's see here. So let's see what happened. So we were given, this one's okay, and this one is missing all of these. Or it's has these as the addition. Oh, you know what? This should have started at 1, since we already got the first letter. Okay, so we have a string out of bounds if the string is empty. So before we do anything, we want to say if string.length is 0, return the empty string. And great, we got it all correct, and we got a star. So that's great. And then we want to look at string times. Given a string and a non-negative int n, return a larger string that is n copies of the original string. So we want to say string answer is the empty string. For int I equals 0, I less than n plus plus I, answer plus equals string. Return answer. And look, we got it all correct. So this will give us n copies of string. So we're going to go back to Java and then go to array2. And we're going to look at triple up. Return true if the array contains somewhere 3 increasing adjacent numbers like 4, 5, 6, or 2, 4, 23, 24, 25. So this one has true because it has 4, 5, 6. This one is true because it's 1, 2, 3. And this one is false because it's 1, 2, 4. So we're going to say boolean triple, or actually int count equals 0. Return count greater than or equal to, so we're going to return false. So we're going to say for int I equals 1, I less than nums.length plus plus I. So what we want to do is check to see if the one that we're on is one more than the one before it. So if nums at I minus 1 is equal to nums at I plus 1, count plus, then we want the plus plus count, else count equals 0. If count is equal to 2, we want to return true. Okay. So let's see what we got wrong here. So this would be minus. Okay, we got them all correct now. We had a plus, but we should have had a minus, right? Because we want to make sure that the one before is exactly one less than the one that we're currently on. Great. And we checked for 2 here because we're starting count at 0. Instead of, if we want to make it more clear, we could start count at 1 and check for 3. And we got the same. Great. So we want to do 10 run. For each multiple of 10 in a given array, change all the values following it to be that multiple of 10, until encountering another multiple of 10. So 2, 10, 3, 4, 25 yields 2, 10, 10, 10, 20, 20. So we want equals 0, I less than nums.length. So if nums at I mod 10 is 0, so if it's a multiple of 10, and we say change equals nums I, else if change is not equal to -1, nums I equals change. We want to just return nums. And we got all those right. So what we're doing is, if change is -1 to begin with, meaning we haven't encountered a multiple of 10 yet, if we do encounter a multiple of 10, we set change to that multiple of 10. And if we have encountered a multiple of 10, and we're not currently one, then we change the position to whatever the change should be. Match up. Given arrays 1 and nums1 and nums2 of the same length, for every element in nums1, consider the corresponding element of nums2. Return the count of the number of times the two elements differ by 2 or less, but are not equal. So, we have int count starts at 0. We want to say that int size equals, so for int I equals 0, I less than nums1.length, and we can use either nums1 or nums2 because we know that they're the same size. We're comparing them at the same index to return the number of times two elements differ by 2 or less but are not equal. So int diff equals math.abs of nums1 minus nums2. We want to say if diff is not equal to 0 and diff is less than 2 plus plus count less than or equal to 2, return count. Oh, okay. Didn't compile because I forgot a semicolon. Uh-oh. It should be nums I, nums 2I. Ah, didn't compile again. Here we go. And we got a star for that one. So we're getting the absolute value of the difference to get the difference between the two values. And we're saying diff1 if it's not 0, and if it's less than or equal to 2, then we increase the count. And then either 24, 2, or 4. Given an array of ints, return true if the array contains a 2 next to a 2 or a 4 next to a 4, but not both. So we say int in next 2 is false, boolean next 4 equals false, for int I equals 1, I less than nums.length plus plus I. So if nums I minus 1 is equal to 2, and nums I is equal to 2, then next 2 equals true. Else if nums I minus 1 is a 4, and nums I is a 4, then next 4 equals true. And we want to return if next 2 and not next 4 or not next 2 and next 4. So one or the other. We got them all right. Okay. That was all the coding about problems we want to do for this one. So practice for later. Write a simple hangman program that lets the user play hangman. It should take in the letter guesses as user input and stop the game when the user has reached a certain number of wrong guesses or they have found the whole word. You can design the program in any way that you like, just keep in mind all the things we have learned along the way. You should show the user the intermediate version of the word they are guessing with asterisks for the unguessed letters and letters where they have guessed correctly. And that's it. I hope that was helpful.